Hey guys, this is Kaizen here, and welcome back to another episode here on our Let's Play series. Now you'll notice I'm a little bit high up right now, and there's a very good reason for that. Today we are going to be getting into storage, as you no doubt know by the thumbnail and title of the video. But what I wanted to do was come up here a little while ago and have a look at where I wanted my storage room to go. This is my first little tip for you guys is really think about the location of your storage room. So over there you can kind of see I've got this area here that I've flattened and cleared trees and stuff, and that's because it's quite central as in the location for the island, right? Like everything we build is going to be kind of close to that point, or at least, you know, it's the closest we can do. It's the best we can do. So that's why I came up here originally, was to find a location like that, and now just to kind of show you guys that. So I'm going to chuck my elytra on a second. I'm going to fly down and have a look at this a little bit closer. You'll notice I've got some markings down here, which I'm going to come on to in just a second. But essentially, this is what I always do, and I recommend that you do it too, is mark out the area that you've got to actually build in. Now, this is just a rough guess, because if we look at the length of this, for example, you know, this bit here gets a little bit cut off. But having said that, obviously, if we need to build up this with dirt and grass, it's not too difficult to do. So what I do is I put a little mark every 10, so I know that this one is 10, 20, and then there's 2 left over, so we've got 22 there. And this one here is, if we go from this way, 10, 20, it's almost 30, it's like 29. Alrighty, so once you have the area figured out that you have to build in, I highly recommend you go into your creative world and make some plots of that size and test it out. So you can test out your designs to make sure they look cool and how you want them to look, and also to make sure, of course, they provide enough space to put your storage in. The next thing that I always do is create a bit of a workstation. A couple of obvious things being the bed and the crafting bench for making all the stuff you need to do your build. Just saves you having to go away to sleep or not having problems with mobs, I should say, and that sort of thing. Shulker boxes, super useful. As you know in the last episode, that's what that was all about, is getting loads of shulkers. The reason being because obviously you can pick them up and move them over to wherever you're doing your build and store loads of things in them, so that's quite useful. And then I've got a chest here just for overflow stuff, like the sheep I've had to kill because they were getting in the way of the build and that kind of thing. I should be able to sleep now. Yep, there we go. So once that's done, next thing I want to do is lay down the sort of foundations of my build. So to do that, I know that I'm going to basically need the dark oak logs, so I'm going to get a few of those out. I'm just going to place down some pillars that I know are sort of the dimensions I need. Now I'm going to need to keep referring to my creative world to get all this stuff in the right place. So I'm going to do that off cam, and then we'll talk through some of the build as we go. So I've now laid down the foundations of exactly where I want this build to go. We're going to be using dark oak logs as the sort of pillars. I'm going to put some stone in behind them here as well, which I'm going to go around and do in a second. But from here, if we kind of stand up here, you'll get a general idea of the shape of the building. Almost a square, or almost a rectangle I should say, with this little corner here kind of cut out, and this is where the entrance points are going to be. So the next thing to do really now is to build up the basic layer of it, and what I'll do is I'll build these up a couple higher, probably 5 high, and the same with the wall in here as well, so we've got all the pillars and the wall at that height, and then we can kind of adapt it from there. We can take away, we can add things, we can add details and stuff as we go through the build, and obviously, as I say, I have tested this in creative, and I think it's looking pretty good. So now it's just kind of modifying it here in our world. So let me get on with doing all the placing of the blocks, and then we'll come back and do updates along the way. Alrighty, so we've got the walls all built up now, and you'll notice I've got a strip along here as well of dark oak. On the ends of this here, we've used this stuff, the sort of the wood that's like loggy on all 4 sides. You guys know what I mean. So then we can transition off this way like this as well, which we're going to do. You'll notice that this runs a couple of blocks away. So if we came out here diagonally by 2 blocks like this, we're directly in line with this corner here. So if you're doing a medieval build, I find that the overhangs definitely make it look a little bit more authentic. And then there's going to be a second level up there as well, just to explain that. Just kind of showing you like a little bit of the build process as we go along. And then on the top here, basically, we're going to have these little things here, and they're going to look good, hopefully. Oh my goodness, if I can place them correctly. But they're also going to add to what I like to try to achieve with my builds in Minecraft, which is make them look realistic. Like, for example, that right there in real life. It's not possible to build, right? And we'll probably have to do something about that later on in the game for sure. I actually do have a few ideas on that. But this right here, it looks like these support beams are then holding up this roof area, and it just looks kind of nice. So literally just by putting these spruce stairs around like this, I think is pretty good. Also, I like the spruce as opposed to using dark oak so that you've got a bit of contrast in the build. This build is going to comprise a lot of wood and stone, and by using the different colours, I think it's going to look good. So we're going to just kind of do this the whole way around to get the bottom layer almost done, or like the bulk detail done, and then we'll come on to the finer detail detail later on in the build as well. The other thing I was doing, if I have some on here, we're going to have some cobblestone running in here. So the cobble's going to go like this, in between here and here. Now, this isn't something you're going to see very much. I'm just going to do this one little block so I can show you. Like from here, you can kind of see it, but it's going to be underneath. But I just think it adds something. It just looks a little bit different rather than using like more stone bricks or more wood. So we're going to do that the whole way around as well on the bottom floor. And then we'll come back and progress on with the build from there. Just giving you little updates as we go in case you like anything you see here and want to replicate it. And also just to kind of show what we're doing in this episode. Well, guys, the second level is now in place. Or at least the front of it is. Nothing behind here is. It's all smoke and mirrors. I will be doing the rest of that. But one thing I like to get done kind of early in the build, as early as possible, is the roof, which is why I've got these oak stairs on me. This is what we're going to use to build the roof here. Now, all my scaffolding is still at spawn, so I'm doing this the old school way, using sand and dirt, but, you know, it still works. It's all good. So the question is where we want to put the roof. I'm going to have to figure this out in conjunction with the beams we've got here. But essentially, I just want to do a little bit of this on camera to show you guys what kind of design we're going to go for. So let's come over here just a little bit like this. And obviously we're going to have some sort of overhang, so we want it to come out here. But I think we actually want to come out by a second one, and I'll show you why that is in just a second. But let's just place a few of these down for a sec, and then get into what sort of design we're going for. So essentially, we're going to have this here like this, and then we're going to place them on the underside here as well. Now, I was going to try and get all of these done so you guys can get a good... Yeah, this is the problem. It's so much easier to do this in creative mode. I was just testing this out before, and yeah, it's a lot different building it here. We'll be fine. Just need to kind of get into a routine, a bit of a system with it, right? So let's just kind of get rid of this a little bit here like this. And then if we go down a little bit, we can place some under here like this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so then this should be enough for you guys to get a good little look at how it's actually going to be once we build the whole thing. So it's kind of that thick sort of roof, which, you know what, maybe it's not a good enough thing. I think I need to just kind of build it and then we'll have a look at it. But essentially that's how I'm doing it. So 2 stairs per each sort of row, if you like, creating that thick roof. So let's get the whole thing done along the front here and see how that looks. Alrighty guys, well I've put myself into spectator mode just so we can get a really good look at this thing together. Because seeing it from the ground is a little bit difficult because as you can see there's not a lot of room around it. But anyway, here we go. This is what we got. These are the roof slats that I've kind of done here. If that's the right word, these triangle things, these sort of sections of the roof. I think it's looking okay. Yeah, you know, kind of cool. You know, when you're down here, this is, I guess, the view that you're going to get from the floor, and I think it kind of looks better from down here almost than it does from up here. A couple of tricky bits, like around here, sort of connecting it up, is a little bit difficult. As you can see, this is sticking out a bit. Now, this is the thing I'm not sure about. It definitely sticks out too much right now, so I'm going to have to change it, I think. If we come around to the back here, you can see what I was trying to do is keep these slats going so that we had 4 that looked kind of, you know, equal and what have you. But I just don't think that's going to be doable because, well, I just realized I missed a row of stairs along here as well. Yeah, just because of this. What I may do, though, is simply bring this wall out a little bit. I think that might be a better fix for the build. So I think that's probably what we're going to do. But other than that, this is kind of what we're looking like. So I'll do that off camera, obviously, in a bit. So yeah, I think I'll move that now, and then we'll come on to looking at the inside, and eventually we'll move on to the detail and stuff. But you can see things are starting to take shape a little bit. We've got the mill over there, this up here. It looks kind of cool. In fact, if we do go down to this sort of area here for a second, I think that's looking pretty big up there and pretty nice sort of build. And once we've got a whole island of this stuff, I really think it's going to look pretty cool. As always, though, if you do have any build suggestions or ideas for me, please feel free to leave a comment, and I'll always consider them and try to incorporate them in. For now, I'm going to get on with moving that wall and a few other things, and then we'll come back and keep doing these little updates along the way. Well, guys, as you can see, I've put myself back in spectator mode here, and that's just so we can have a proper look at this thing, because it is now just about done. So coming up to look at this in a bit more detail, you'll see the kind of design that I've gone for here all the way around. We're going to take a look at the inside as well. I did end up moving this wall 1 extra out, so it's now the same amount of distance away from the end of the roof as we have down on the other side, which is cool. If we go around to the back here as well, we can see how it looks just to show it from all angles. I got to be honest, I'm actually pretty pleased with how this has turned out. I think it looks pretty cool. And also inside, as you're about to see, there's a ton of storage space, so that is awesome. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to jump back into survival mode a sec, and then we'll take a look at some of the other features. So each of the sections looks something a little bit like this. We've got a lot of cobblestone wall going across the top here, the same up there. We've got the windows, which are black stained glass. I figured they looked the best. I did try a few different ones out. With just these trapdoors here, these are spruce trapdoors. So spruce accenting all of the details with the trapdoors, the stairs there, the fence up there. And I think it looks kind of good. Then we've got the hay bales and the barrels outside, which are not going to be used for storage. They're just, purely decorational little bits to have in there, because I did want to try and make it look kind of cool. For the entrance here, we're actually not going to have doors. We're just going to have this open. I figure that eventually we'll have the area pretty lit up and stuff, so it'll be safe. In the meantime, I may want to change that and maybe put some fence gates down or something, just so no mobs can get in. I don't want any creepers getting in, because I'm having a lot of problems with creepers here. So we'll see about that. But let's go in and have a look. So this is the kind of design here. What we've got here for the flooring is a mix of cobble, smooth stone, andesite, and even gravel every now and again. I didn't have much gravel, but we mixed a bit in. So we've got different types of storage as well in here. Lots of lanterns for lighting. Obviously, that's going to look the best. These little wooden beams here are, I believe, spruce logs, and then oak planks in here to create the little difference in height of the different roof sections like that. Wherever you see one of these, I'm going to have some ender chests eventually. I just don't have enough right now, so that's something I need to work on. We've even got some crafting benches in as well. Just to say, things like here, this barrel right here, for example, and the barrel and chest up there, almost definitely will just be decorational, and the actual storage we'll use will be all of these areas here. So definitely not how I would normally do a storage room. I normally do them a lot more uniform and functional, where we can have all the signs and things and everything's a bit more square and stuff. But I do like the design of it. I think it's looking all right, so that's a plus. Upstairs here, we've got a similar sort of thing going on, same flooring, this is spruce fence, I believe, going around here. And again, just things like this for decoration. Ender chest will go on here. And then we've got our storage. So, yeah, pretty cool, right? I think. Let me know down in the comments if you like this build, or if you have any suggestions for the build as well. That would be awesome to know. But certainly, as you can see, we've got loads of storage space. I do have to add just a few more chests in here, but then that's going to be about full. So, pretty good progress. I'd had to chop down a ton of trees to get here, so I managed to find a use for a lot of the birch trees on my island, just turning them into chests, because really I don't use them for anything else, so figured that was kind of useful. But yeah, I have to say, what with that up there and that down there, we got a little bit going on now. Once we start getting a few other structures around, I think this island and this base is really going to take shape. And certainly having a storage room, I'm really pleased to have that now. Off camera, I'll need to tidy up my workstation here and also transfer all storage from over there and also from the spawn area over to here, which is going to take some time, but at least I have shulkers now, which is why I was in a bit of a rush to get those. So guys, that's about it for this episode. We've got our storage room up and running, which was the whole point. If you enjoyed this episode, please do consider liking and subscribing. It really is greatly appreciated. I just want to say thank you again to my patrons and recent people who've given me super chats. You haven't been forgotten about. You are going to be coming in an upcoming episode where I'm going to add a little wall of fame and stuff like that. So that will be coming soon. But for this episode, guys, that is about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.